Welcome back to Special Stage and to Rally Ceredigion 2023. Thank you to Mark James in Carmarthen. We hope you enjoyed that live stream through there. Mark will be back with us this afternoon for the second running through that stage. But right now, I am live with you in Carmarthen, and I have got a very special guest with me. I'm delighted to say 2008, a long time ago now, Hugh Hunter, BTRD8 rally champion, and a man who, until a pretty big accident on the Manx this year, was looking like, pace-wise, fighting these guys for the title and driving through this 17-mile monster stage today. You wish you were. Hugh Hunter, welcome to Special Stage.
Hi, Paul. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, we drove through this stage this morning. It's phenomenal. It's a heck of a stage. You know, it would rank up anywhere in the world, I would imagine. It's got a bit of everything in it. So, yeah, these drivers are in for a real treat.
17-mile monster. Most of these guys will not have done a stage that long, will they?
Very few. You know, most of the rallies in this country, the stages tend to be probably half that length or even shorter. So, yeah, to be able to get your teeth into a 17-miler is phenomenal. Here comes Oshan now.
So our reigning British rally champion, he's got a very big name co-driver alongside him, Stefan Privot, and we're going to see some big air. We've got a fantastic bit of stage for you. We're 2 miles from the end of this 17-mile stage in Carmarthen. And there you go. How often do you get to see top flight rally cars almost on the limiter for that long? Into view and out of view. Ocean Price setting the benchmark for today's rally overall, but it is the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship coverage that we are focusing on today. And of course, we have a title fight, a showdown on our hands. Neil Roskell leads the championship into this round. Callum Black, his nearest challenger, is in 4th place, but with drop scores taken into account. And a couple of really strong finishes from Callum this season, despite having a DNF on the down rally. Callum can take the championship this weekend. In fact, he's the only person who could take it from Neil Roskell with those drop scores taken into account. It's going to be an exciting weekend. We've got 100 stage miles on some incredible roads here around Aberystwyth. And as I say, Hugh Hunter will be joining us today on the live coverage here on Special Stage. James Williams back in the Hyundai Rally 2 for this round. He's been in the Fiesta, Hugh, and looks like he's had a bit of a moment there. You were looking at the times earlier.
Looking at the times, looks like James has had a bit of a problem. He's lost the headlamp and a bit of front end damage. Stage 2, he looks like he's dropped probably a good 35-40 seconds to Oshan. So he's obviously had a bit of a misdemeanor somewhere in stage 2.
We said this, didn't we, for those guys? With Formo not being here on WRC duties, he is catching him. These guys are going to be going hard, aren't they? They could win this rally.
Well, Marion coming through now, he's definitely catching James, but Marion's been on red hot form all season in Ireland, and he's he's had plenty of seat time. Yeah, flying, going really, really well.
Jonathan Jackson alongside. So coming up will be our 4th place man in the standings, but our title challenger, Callum Black. Jack Morton alongside in the Fiesta Rally 2. These cars are fast. You know that only too well after your issue on the Manx, but these guys are pushing hard. The pace in this Asphalt series this year.
Yeah, the pace is immense. Certainly, Marion particularly has been in Ireland doing the ITC all season, so he's really on a strong pace. Oshan obviously is always going to be on a strong pace, but the other boys, Roskells and Callum Blacks, James Williams, these boys. James Ford's been in Ireland. His pace has improved significantly through the year. So, yeah, this should be a real good battle this weekend.
Hopefully you tuned into the coverage with Mark James for the second stage of the day. This is SS3, but we should mention that this event is expecting an attendance of 25,000 people with an anticipated economic impact of around £2 million. It's incredible, and here we are. This is the reason why the big guns, the fastest rally drivers on sealed surface, on the asphalt in the UK, doing battle on closed public roads. There are some permutations which we will talk you through in terms of the championship, but Callum just needs to get that pedal to the metal. He's really got to nail it this weekend, but if he gets a maximum, that puts him in a maximum point score, I should say. That puts him in a really strong position going into tomorrow, and it will Neil Roskell's dropped back a bit so far on the morning stages so far as the championship fight's concerned, hasn't he? Which will be bothering him. He doesn't deal well when he's struggling for the pace early on. He needs to get his mind in gear, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, Neil, looking at the times from the first two, Neil's dropped 20 odd to Callum there on stage 2. So, yeah, he's up against it already. So he's going to have to get his foot down and crack on a bit. But you know, Callum's going to be on it as well. I think Callum's in a little bit of a difficult position in the sense he needs to drive for the championship, but he's probably got half an eye on an overall result on the rally overall. So yeah, he's going to have to be careful what he does, really. And
Callum only has one speed. He's just flat out. But he's such an experienced driver. When you look at the combination of the two, Neil started rallying in 2019 when this event started for the first time, and Callum's been rallying since when did Callum started? Early mid-2000s in the BRC.
Yeah, Callum's been for a young lad.
There's a man who will be definitely. I think one of the things, flying the ointment, I think was an expression you used earlier, or a thorn in your side when you were fighting for championships and you had people like Sean Gardner in your championship year, just sort of. James Ford's going to be in there, Steve Wood's going to be in there as well. You're going to have quite a few people just getting in the mix and possibly upsetting the order as far as that championship is concerned. Yeah,
absolutely. I think Steve and James are definitely two that could cause a bit of a problem and get in the mix. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
James Ford on the Jim Clark this year, just incredible performance, and he really, these guys were all sort of looking around thinking, hey, we could have a third one going into the latter half of this season. It's a shame we haven't got more title challenges, but to have a showdown like this with a double header on roads like these on 100 stage miles, it's going to be great. So we have the first of our championship protagonists through, Callum Black, Neil Roskell leading the championship, a fantastic year for him. Will be coming up shortly, but here is Gary Pearson. We are mixing ranks with the British Rally Championship here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this weekend. So Hugh and I will bring you a bit of a flavour of the overall event results, which is what you'll find if you go on the live results link. If you look on the Rally Ceredigion Facebook page, you'll see that. But we will bring you the story of the championship as well. So at the moment then,
just have some times through now from stage 3. Quickest is Miriam Evans with a 12:58.7, and second is Oshan with a 13:07.9. So a fantastic stage time from Miriam there. He looked really quick when he went past us.
He was fastest on the opening stage, wasn't he? And he dropped back in stage 2.
He was quickest on the first. He's had a problem on stage 2, and he's just cemented the fact that he's really on form again.
But second overall at the moment is our first of our 2 championship protagonists for the overall Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this weekend, and that's Callum Black, who's leading the Asphalt Cruise.
Really good time from Callum as well. He's just come in with a 13:12.8, so only 5 seconds off Oshan there in 17 miles of rallying. That's a great performance from Callum.
Kevin Davies, another fast guy away and alongside, and he will be in the mix this weekend. Say again, Hugh.
Yeah, no, Kevin going well there. So it'll be interesting to see what time he comes out with at the end. We're not far from the end of the stage here, a mile or so. So we'll get some more times. James Ford's time just come in with a 13:39. So he's dropped a little bit of time in that stage. So. Which is easy done in 17 miles. It's a long way, and there's a lot of driving in this stage.
It's an incredible stage. I said to Phil Bramall as we're driving into the stage, using the Land Rover behind us, and he is 100% going to be wishing he was in a Rally 2 Fiesta this weekend. Hello to you if you're watching from home or wherever you're watching from. James Coburn, just think how much the WRC would bring to the UK. Let's hope Ireland and the UK get it back. How about Wales and the UK? Wales will get back again. This event would be a fantastic addition to the WRC calendar. It's tipped to be an ERC round in the very near future, which would be good. And I know the event organisers are putting a lot of effort, planning, organisation, budget and investment into it for that.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job with this rally in a short space of time. It hasn't been going that long, and to be in the position they're in is testament to the hard work and professionalism of the team. I mean, these stages, would be fantastic on an ERC or even a WRC round. They're amazing. So hopefully
Wales Rally GB being a tarmac ground in the future.
Well, they could have a bit of both, couldn't they? You know, there's plenty of good forest nearby. And, you know, they could have a day of tar, a bit like Spain, day of tar, day of gravel.
Here we go then, our championship leader here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Neil Roskell, Andrew Roughhead in that Fiesta Rally 2 didn't quite seem to be banging off the limiter like the others through there. Maybe just a little bit backed off. Had a big spin in stage 2, we understand, so he knows he's got to keep it on the road this weekend, because although he leads the championship, it's a slim lead, and with drop scores taken into account, it hasn't got the advantage when you actually drop the scores with Callum's results this weekend. Roskell, though, has come such a long way in such a short period of time to be fighting with names like yourself, Hugh, but people like Callum Black in the chat. And Roskell's only just jumped into that car. It was 4 years ago. He was in a Group N Impreza.
No, he's done really well. You know, he was late. He was late into rally, and a lot of us guys have been doing it a long time. And Neil came into it quite late on. I mean, he's almost as old as me, I think. So to start that late on and to be where he is now is testament to the hard work he puts in. And he's a really nice guy. And you know, I really hope he does well.
These roads are tough, and Neil found that out for himself last year in the R5 Fiesta when he had a drive shaft failure. So he will be driving, no doubt, as you see Mark Kelly and Will Atkins alongside in the Skoda. A man who knows the Skodas very well from that co-driver's seat. Will normally in with Ian Bainbridge, of course. But yeah, Neil will be keeping one eye on the reliability of the car, and he won't want any silly mistakes or to push things too hard, because it is an awful long way to go. The mileage on this event, because we're mixing the ranks with the BRC, means that 100 stage miles over 2 days and a 17-mile stage run twice. It's incredible, and it's a bit of a marathon, so he will just be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, I think he had a couple of issues. He had a couple of accidents, and he's taken his time sensibly to come back, rebuilt the car, gone and done a few smaller rallies just to get confident in the car, build his own confidence up. And I'm not sure, but is this probably the first closed road rally back since his accident? So, you know, Mark's going to be looking to get round the 2 days, gain some mileage, build up his confidence and build up his speed, and you know, hopefully gets to the end and it all goes well for him.
So it's victory on the Manx and Argyle that has put Callum in such a strong chasing position for the title this weekend as far as the leaderboard is concerned. But both those guys will be looking for a maximum points finish from today. So to remind you, this weekend's Rally Ceredigion is 2 events. As you see, Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams through. Now, I was talking to Claire the other night, and he's just picked that car up, a new car day. I mean, I don't know what, I'd love to know what it feels like to pick a new Rally 2 Fiesta or Hyundai up there. But it's a fantastic car. I don't know if he's got the restrictor on, though, so I don't know if he's in BRC or not. And Claire was going to come back to me, so I think she's had a bit to do in the last couple of days.
Well, she's probably been pretty busy on the recce, but yeah, it's a brand new i20 for Alan. I don't know if it's with the plus kit on or not. I have no idea. So, but he'll go okay, and he'll be looking to get some mileage in that car.
Got a top 10 on the Rally Ceredigion last season, so 2009. This event first started, and you know, it was the first event to take advantage of that new legislation in 2017 when it in Wales, first closed road event, and it had, I've got some facts here, 11,000 spectators, 120 people entered, 200 organisers, 666 marshals. A word for the marshals, because I mean, just on this stage alone, there's a small army of people, and they were all smiling.
Yeah, oh, but they'll be loving it as much as we do, won't they? You know, they have a passion for the sport, and without them, we wouldn't be rallying. So, you know, thanks very much to all the marshals out there, because, like I say, without them, you know, there'd be no rallying.
Yeah, and it's nice and dry and warm-ish for us today, which is good. What have we got? Some more times in there, Hugh?
Times-wise now.
Hugh's normally getting the phone passed across to him inside the rally car at the end of a stage. It's a bit of novelty having it in front of you, be able to.
Gary Pearson's now up to 6th spot. Well, James Williams has moved up to 5th. Pearson's up to 6th. He had a 13:46.
Andy Davies has got a problem with the hazards on, and he has been caught in the stage, hasn't he? Andrew Purcell with Shane Buckley alongside. So That's going to be a frustrating one because this is the skinny part. It's 2 miles to go.
We're nearly at the end. Neil Roskell's at 7th now. He's moved up a spot with a 13.53, and Kelly's up to 8th, and Kev Davis has dropped down to 9th. So that's our top 9 at the moment.
Crucially, James Ford, who we said would possibly mix things up here, one of a few, is splitting Callum Black and Neil Roskell on the leaderboard at the moment. So as far as the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship title fight is concerned, Roskell will be just keeping one eye on Ford, as well as keeping an eye on Callum Black's times up ahead. But Black has stolen a march here on the first day, on the first of 2 rounds to complete the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship season as we go into this title showdown. It's wow, there's a man who will be possibly taking things a little more easy this year. Gwyndaf Evans, what a man to have out here rallying with us in Wales on the asphalt. You forget sometimes, don't you, what he has done in his career. I was talking to Mark James yesterday about some of the interviews Mark's done in WRC with him, and we were watching the famous tree stump incident in the Rapid Fit Escort. He just got up and drove off again.
Well, he's an iconic driver from Wales, but doesn't live too far away from me, to be honest. But yeah, it's fantastic for the profile of the event to have a name such as Gwyndaf doing the rally. Hopefully he'll get round the 2 days this time. I think, was it last year? He had a little bit of an accident last year, so fingers crossed that he keeps going.
It was a gift from Elvin, the car wasn't it?
It was a gift from Elvin, yeah. Hopefully maybe Elvin's paid to fix it, I don't know.
I keep hoping he'll bring the F2 Ibiza out. I know he's got that car in his Gwyndaf Evans Motors showroom, and I would love to see that Formula 2 car out on these stages. The Formula 2 car out on these stages would be hellish exciting, wouldn't it? Ieuan Evans, Daffyd Evans alongside in their escort. They came 15th overall last season. It's one of those events, Hugh, that you do end up with a few giant killing performances, because you've got lads that know these lanes really well and lads that have done road rallying in this neck of the woods.
Well, I was just going to say that's the big thing around here. This is a hotbed of road rallying around here, and a lot of these guys in the Mark IIs will have spent years road rallying on these roads, so they'll know them well, and they're going to perform well here, because, as I say, they know the roads. They've driven them in the dark with little dinky spotlights on, so to drive them in daylight.
There's a man who, it's Darien weather today, isn't it, on these lanes, apart from it being a bit damp under the trees. And John Dalton and Gwynfor Jones had a big accident on stage 4 of this event last year, so that will be no doubt on their minds a little bit, because there's some bumps in this stage, offline, online, and a car like that is very easily unsettled.
Well, yeah, they're a bit of a handful. I've never driven a Darien. I wouldn't fit in a Darien, but so yeah, there'd be a bit of a handful. But I mean, John's been rallying for more years than I care to remember, and he's very, very experienced, and still obviously very competitive. So these dry conditions will suit the car perfectly.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to Special Stage. This is Cummerswith. It is the 3rd stage of Rally Ceredigion 2023, and the voice that you can hear alongside me is Hugh Hunter, a man who very much should be out here challenging for that title, but due to a bit of an off on the Manx, has got the duty to stand with us by the side of the stage, which is great. And one thing I want to get from you, we'll wait until this car's passed, is something I can't share with people, which is what it's like to be inside one of these Rally 2 Fiestas on a rally like this. So get your thoughts in order on that, Hugh. I want some real insight into what goes on inside these cars, because it looks very serene on the outside. As Hugh James, Lewis Sim go past us looking for a better weekend this year, having not finished because of a broken steering rack last year. So what is it like inside those incredible World Rally Championship machines on roads like these?
It's a great experience. We're privileged to drive such good cars, to be honest with you. You kind of have to pinch yourself. I mean, over the years we've driven, I've been lucky enough to drive a number of cars, Subaru World cars, Focus World cars, R5 Fiestas. So I feel very lucky to have been able to do it, and it's, they're amazing to drive. I mean, these R5 cars now, the handling, the braking, they're just unbelievable. So that you probably will never drive them to the capability. We're not, me as a national driver, is probably not good enough to drive the car to its full potential. But no, they're fantastic to drive.
Pause for thought there for just one moment. There's a man. You said it. Are you sure he's in a historic Escort when we were looking at the times earlier? Because he is fast. Yeah. He rolled big style on this event on the 5th stage last year. Jason Pritchard, Phil Clark, former British Historic Rally Champion, 3-time Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Champion in the Focus World Car like the one that Hugh has competed in.
Yeah, just on stage 2. I mean, I was looking at the times and I thought, well, is Pritchard in a modern car or a historic? When I saw the time, he had an exceptional time on stage 2.
Some boy in that car, isn't he?
Yeah, he goes really well, and again, it's you know, he'll know the roads, and he works hard on his notes, and you know, he's just a good driver. So
one eye on the RAC, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure, but a different surface. Yeah, please.
Carl White, Sean Topping coming into view. The Peugeot 208 we'll see on this event. He's moving around a lot, wasn't he? Just over that bump.
Looked a bit soft, to be honest, the car there. It seemed to be just rolling around a little bit, but makes a hell of a noise, doesn't it?
It does. This is the thing that you miss when you're inside one of the cars at the front of the leaderboard, you see, Hugh. So Kyle is congratulations to Kyle. He's become a new dad 2 days ago, and here he is on Rally Ceredigion inside the rally car. His wife is about as understanding as mine, and I'm sure yours, Hugh, because when you're a rally wife, you have to put up with a few things that otherwise just wouldn't understand.
I'm having a little bit of a predicament. Obviously, after my Manx excursion, the wife's a little bit questioning whether I should be carrying on. So it's understandable. She had a bit of a fright. We'll see.
Well, there's 208, Sean Williams. Oh, just sound incredible. This is the thing you miss it when you're inside the car. So you sat on the start line, you've got your revs up, you're about to go into launch control, and those Rally 2 cars, they just look incredible from the outside to drive. What's that feeling like when you're about to launch into the stage? What's going through your mind?
You never get bored of the feeling. It's great, you know. Your adrenaline's up. You're looking forward to getting into the stage, put it into launch, and they just, you know, obviously on dry tarmac, even on gravel, they'll just fly off the line, and it's just a fantastic feeling. It's a drug. That's why we always, you know, we keep coming back, no matter what happens, the hardships, the heartache that you have, but the good times, you know, they outweigh the bad times, and it's just a love for the sport, you know, and the feeling you get driving a car, you know, on stages like this it's difficult to explain. It's fantastic.
Now, the man who I was expecting up next was going to be Darren Atkinson, who has had an incredible season in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. But hold that thought, because that was one of the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy lads, wasn't it? Who was that? That was Kyle McBride. Liam McIntyre alongside. It was going well, wasn't he? Came 19th, had a top 20 result on last year's rally here in Ceredigion.
Looking at the times, wondering, Steve Wood's time hasn't come through.
We've not seen Steve.
Steve been through. Maybe he hasn't been through, you know.
Have we seen Steve Wood through? We haven't, have we? So our reigning champion here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, Steve Wood, who, let's not forget that last season his championship campaign really took off on the down rally, which we've just enjoyed in Northern Ireland, and this was where he knew his championship was heading in the right direction. And Steve Wood, he's not come through the stage just yet. So Darren Atkinson leads B13. He is still fighting to secure B13 in that Haldane Fisher car. Window down, actually, in that car. Matthew Daniels inside that car with him this weekend. He's swapped around co-drivers actually this year, Darren, but he has been quick in that Escort. So he's 3rd overall in the standings, in the Asphalt standings, which is just incredible, isn't it? 2nd overall is William Hill in the Rally 3 Fiesta, that 1.5 turbo car. So there's some real giant killing performances this year in the Asphalt series, and we've talked about how hot the pace is, so it's not for any lack of pace with the R5s and the Rally 2s.
No, it's nice to see a mix of cars, you know, at the front. And obviously these guys in the Mark IIs and the lesser spec cars, it's nice to see that they're driving them hard, and obviously all on a really good pace.
Yeah. Sorry, Phil Bramwell Bit of knowledge from Phil Bramwell. Phil Bramwell's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi everyone. No, it was just that what we were talking about last night in the digs that Will isn't here with the R3 this weekend. I think he's in an R2 or an R200 instead.
We'll look out for that for the Hills Ford car, but it shouldn't hurt the point situation too much for him. He'll be watching out for what Callum Black does, though, because he will leapfrog with the drop scores taking into account from fourth into second, or what he hopes will be first place with the title showdown that we have this season. As you see, Neil Williams and Yuri Davies through in their historic spec Escort. Some of those bumps in a historic car will be formidable on this stage here.
Yeah, there'll be
any car, but a historic
car. Yeah, with a historic car. Yeah, the guys are going to have to be careful. You know, there's some nasty bumps, and there's a lot of bumps on this section of road we're looking at here.
They are such great-looking cars. Wayne Jones, Elgin Davies. They had a pretty rough couple of events last time out. 2 DNFs, quite dramatic ones, I believe, as well on Mueller and Epping, but they won at Brawley at the start of the year. So brimming with confidence, but some of those bits of this stage that we've been through, you'll be grounding that out. I talk as someone who drives a very similar car on a weekend, a Clan Crusader, but those things are going to be bottoming out on some of those parts of the stage.
They're going to be tough to drive on. This section of road we're looking at here is mightily fast, but very bumpy as well. So, yeah, those little Darians, they're going to be a handful along here.
So William Hill, Richard Crozier up next as far as the road order is concerned, if that's still the case. And they are fighting for second in the championship, which if you'd have said to Will Hill at the start of this season, looking at the entry list, yourself included at that point, Hugh, for the championship this season, and if you'd have said to him in a Rally 3 Fiesta, he was going to be up there in second place at the penultimate round as this is today, he would have taken that, I'm sure.
He'd have snapped your hand off, wouldn't he? And you know, it's really great. It's nice to see underdogs, or you know, as I say, somebody in a well-driven, underpowered car be challenging and being up there. So it's good to see.
And you don't see many of the Rally 3 cars over here competing either, and we saw the net results of that on the Manx when they were having to nurse the car through because they simply couldn't get hold of any parts because they're all bespoke to that car. You know, they needed brake discs, and believe it or not, an R5 and R2, none of them had the right parts for that car. So we did see the results of that, but it is good to see something different. This, as Phil Bramwell pointed out, Will's not in a Fiesta Rally 3, but I'm pretty sure he's not in an Escort Mark 2, so... Dylan Davies, Cleon Williams, according to the number on the car. Was that number 15? Escort, no, they're... Lost my trail a little bit there. Richard Clues had a big accident here last season. Carl Williamson alongside. He's in the fight for the B14 runner-up spot. He's had a couple of fourth place finishes this season. Consistency with a bit of pace. And as I say, that accident last year probably on his mind as well. If you're just tuned in, welcome to Special Stage. Welcome to our coverage of the 2023 Rally Ceredigion. We are in Stage 3. Cumberswith, and I'm joined by Hugh Hunter. Great to have Hugh alongside. It must be quite strange being outside of the car, and as you said earlier, as a Peugeot 208 went past, you don't hear what they sound like normally.
No, it's a lot cheaper being stood here, that's for sure. But no, I quite enjoy it. Obviously, it'd be nice to be doing the event, but no, it's I really enjoy doing this. I did this last year with Special Stage, thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I was chuffed to be asked again this year, and I'm really happy to be here.
Well, the championship's loss as far as the competition is concerned is our gain alongside the stage, because we have got the insight of Hugh, who normally drives Rally 2 Fiesta and will be back out after his accident on the Manx. I'm pleased to say he's going to ease himself back into action on the Woodpecker Rally based at Ludlow next weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's Will Rowlands, who I was expecting through Emir Hall alongside. He needs 5 points from this weekend to secure him the historic H9 category title. And then he's in the fight for the overall historics in the RS 1800. Leads the overall historic Asphalt Cup, and he is some boy as well. 20th overall last year.
Will is, you know, he's local to me, Will. I know his dad well. and he's a proper little pilot. He's a really good little driver. I'm just looking at his times now compared to Pritchard. He was only 4 off Pritchard on the first stage, and he was only 2 off him on the second stage, so Will is on a mission.
Some really good young historic drivers in this country who are really fighting, and the pace is getting quicker and quicker.
Well, he's a really good driver, and he's got Emir in with him. Emir's got a load of experience, really good guy.
Another man who knows very well how to pedal the Mark II Escort, and that shows in his results so far. Missed the last couple, or was it just the down rally? We lost Brad due to him having a baby as well, so it's all about babies this year. Well, his wife having a baby, yeah, so good to have Brad back. He was 5th last year in the Protyre Asphalt Rally Championship here on this event. He's fighting for the B13 title with Darren Atkinson and Andy Scott. And there was a heck of a fight, actually. Sam Adams in that mix as well on the down rally Northern Ireland, which was the last of these events that I did. So I'm only doing certain rounds of the Asphalt this year. I was surprised to see how much of a fight was emerging in B13 at that point, because I had my head out of it and I was into BTRDA mode. But the B13 Escort fight, right through the order. We're talking about the championship showdown here this weekend, Hugh, but it's right through the classes. And if you were here, you'd obviously be fighting. If you were fighting for the championship, be the top. But you're never far away from a championship battle in these categories here. It's a great championship to be a part of, and it's great camaraderie as well among the competitors.
Absolutely. We were on the Manx. It's the only one I went to this year, unfortunately. But yeah, the camaraderie between the competitors is brilliant. Really good fun. You know, and it's good that there's good battles throughout all the classes, and obviously that they're going obviously to the last rally of the season. That there's still interest there, still something to fight for. And it just makes it much more interesting to watch.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and it gives us a really strong narrative as well. So we have got that championship showdown this weekend between Neil Roskell, who leads the championship, and Callum Black, who's currently 4th. So with drop scores taken into account, he's almost level with Neil. It's going to be an exciting weekend out here on Rally Ceredigion on the Aberystwyth lanes. That's Gary Thomas with Linda Thomas alongside, just outside the top 20 on last year's event. So another crew who, you know, could just be in the mix for a good result this weekend.
Just looking at some times now. John Dalton, we were talking about previously.
In the Darien.
Has put in a pretty decent time here on stage 3. He's moved himself up into 10th overall. Here's Steve.
Here we go. Steve Wood, our reigning Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship champion. Clearly had a problem. Kenny Hall alongside in that Citroen, and there's Rory McCann, Paul McCann alongside in that Honda Civic. They go well. They didn't do this event last year, so no previous results to benchmark against, but I'll always remember that video on YouTube of Mark Higgins in the Civic on the Manx, yeah, on the Brandywell. And when I see one of those early model Civics on lanes like these, it just throws me right back to that video. So as far as the championship is concerned then, Callum Black at the moment is doing exactly what he needs to do, isn't he? Yeah.
At the moment, Callum is having a really good, a real strong event. He's had a cracking first 3 stages, currently lying in 2nd overall, just 21 down on Osham. But more importantly for Callum, he is, let me just check, 23.40. He is 55 up on Neil at the moment, so he's got a comfortable lead over Neil. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of tactics Callum comes out with now. Whether he's just going to try and maintain that gap to Neil, or is he going to push on? You know, with Osham not too far in front of him, I think he may push on.
Callum wins today as far as the Asphalt crews are concerned, then he needs to score 5th or higher tomorrow in the championship to take the title. So Neil Roskell needs to get a bit of a wriggle on, as you see Williams, Dave Williams through in their H9 Escort, another pair who have been blisteringly quick this weekend. Phil Bramwell showed me some photos earlier that his dad and he took when he was a little kid at Oliver's Mount, and the real version of that Shell Oils Escort is in those photos, and it's a fantastic photo. Rob Smith, Alan Cook, they've been quick this year as well in H9. It's a G3 Escort. It's just a fantastic thing, isn't it?
He's been over these lanes a few times.
He's having a bit of a go. Trying to see Steve Wood. Looking at
Hello
the times.
to Paul Morris and Simon Crook who've joined us. Paul Morris, our championship coordinator here. Mark Grant's watching from East Yorkshire. Howard Price watching, enjoying himself, watching some action. Sorry, Hugh.
Now, I was just looking now. Steve Wood's time has come in for this long stage now, stage 3. The issue he's had is he's obviously had it in this stage as his time's at 37 minutes. So we're not too sure what it was. I would say it was mechanical because he went past us. Car seemed to be okay.
Rear bumper missing.
So there must have been something mechanical that he's
His rear
managed.
bumper was missing off it, but
Yeah, was it? Or maybe he's got stuck then. But he's still going, but obviously he's dropped a phenomenal amount of time.
probably not going to be mixing anything up as far as the championship story is concerned today, but tomorrow could be a very different story. And depending on how the results shape up today, tomorrow could be either we could all be on tenterhooks, or we could be placing our bets this evening. But Callum Black at the moment leads the way in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. If he takes maximum points today, puts him in a really strong position tomorrow. All he'll have to do is drop scores, take into account, and that will be a fairly doable brief, I would say, for Callum Black. But don't count anything out in these exciting rallies. Lee Hastings, Cole Hastings alongside Cole, third place in the junior co-driver standings in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this season. These guys are fighting for the B14 runner-up spot, despite having a monumental crash last time out. Those two in that Subaru, but they've gone well as well. They sort of ninjaed their way into our sights earlier in the season, because sometimes you get a crew who you look down the entry list, and for right or wrong, you maybe overlook the odd crew, and that's one that I overlooked. And we got to, was it round 2, round 3, and they were on the pace. They were flying.
I mean, has he been? I'm not sure if he's rallied in Ireland a bit. Do you know that, Phil? Has he been in Ireland? Maybe that's. Or is he
Lee and Cole Hastings. He's been fighting for B14 here. He's done everything but the first round of the East Riding stages in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. But Miff Owen says, great to have Hugh commentating again. Top man. Got some fans out here, Hugh. Doug Smith cheering on Neil Roskell this weekend. He's got it all to do after this morning, though, hasn't he? Dean Roskell. Well, we know you're who you're supporting, Dean. Come on, Roski, pedal it, bro. Dermot Bradley's watching in Wexford in Ireland. Will we be covering the Wexford stages next weekend? No, we're not, I'm afraid. But it's a great rally.
It is a good rally.
Love it over there.
You've done Wexford, haven't you?
In my youth. Many years ago.
What was that in?
I did it in a Sierra Cosworth, in mid-90s, something like that, mid-90s. I think Eamon Boland or somebody won it back then, I think. So, yeah, long time ago.
We've seen James Ford. This is old man. You'll forgive me for saying it like that, I'm sure. Chris Ford, Neil Coleman alongside in their C3 Rally 2. They didn't finish last year. They had a clutch go on them. You know how that one feels.
Yes, I do.
Horrendous when you've had, it's not your fault. The car just gives up.
Well, I did Mull a couple of years ago, and that's what happened to us there. Clutch went, and all that time spent recceing to do the rally and get to the end, and something like that happens. And it's rallying though. It happens. You hit the rough with the smooth. I guess.
Rather that than backing it into the trees, because it's a bit cheaper to fix a clutch.
I've done that as well. So
Steve Nibbs and Goin Barry through in there, and Petter looking to improve on a 30th place last time out. And there's Anne Theaton with Ian Jackson alongside, registered for Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship points. They came 8th overall in the championship, 5th in class in that Fiesta R5 Plus at the last round. Are these cars, it's all comparable, of course. It's all comparable, but are these cars difficult to drive, Hugh, compared to, say, the Focus World car? The Rally 2 Fiesta.
Yeah, the Rally 2. Yeah, the Focuses were easier to drive.
Were they? Because they looked a lot more physical.
No, I mean the 05 cars. It was armchair rallying, really. Yeah, the cars were amazing. Yeah, there's a little bit more. You've got to. That's where the young guys go so well in these R5 cars, and as old uns, they're so used to armchair rallying, and maybe not having to push as hard as you need to get the times. You have to really drive the R5 cars.
And yeah, it looks a lot smoother from the outside in the Rally 2 and the R5s compared to those world cars that were twitching on edge, and they look to be, you know, sliding the back end around.
Well, really, I mean, the world cars, with the fully active cars, you know, obviously they weren't designed to be driven sideways. You know, it wasn't the right way.
Twitchy.
Yeah, that's not the right way to drive them. You know, trying to keep the car as straight as possible. It'd be the same basis really with an R5 car. Really, you want to keep the car going in a forward motion rather than a sideways motion.
And just to demonstrate the point, there's Mike English through in his great-looking Fiesta Rally 2. Someone who's in the transition to that Rally 2 Fiesta, has taken a bit of transition into it. Had a great performance on the Jim Clark. I'll be looking to build on that this season. But Mike English is someone who, there's quite a few rally drivers who in recent years, because of the way rallying has gone in this country, have gone from being single venue specialists to actually cutting their teeth on closed roads and doing quite well. And there's no better example than that than Neil Roskell, who was, you know, Motorsport News Circuit Rally champion a few years ago, and is now looking to be Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally champion, you know, 2 years apart.
Indeed. I mean, obviously the closed road thing has really just come to the fore in the last few years. So, you know, to do a closed road event in the past, it was Isle of Man, it was Mull, or you were over the water into Ireland. So a lot of guys, tarmac guys over here, the closest thing to a closed road would be an Otterburn or an Epping. So, you know, a lot of these guys now, with the availability of all these new closed road events, it's given them a better opportunity to get out and have a go, and they're obviously realising that it's fantastic fun. You know, it's a step up from single venues and circuit racing, and you know, and it'll help their driving as they get used to it and learn the notes. And, you know, their driving will come on, they'll get quicker and quicker than all they do.
The biggest change is the note. Steve Orman-Smith there, who retired on this event last year and is fighting for B14 points for the runner-up spot with Lee Hastings and Richard Clues. He had Claire Williams in with him last year on this event. Actually, she's in with Alan Carmichael up at the sharp end of the leaderboard today. Callum Young in with Steve Orman-Smith in the B14 car for today. And you saw Hugh Jeffries through with Averina Jeffries alongside as well in the Impreza. Both those cars quite close together. I think the Mitsubishi had overtaken the Subaru given the pace difference. I think that's the way that one had gone. But if you are just tuning in, great to have so many of you watching with us. Mark James and myself, Paul Woodford, are switching between the stages today. I've got Phil Bramwell with me, who is a little bit too far for me to get any input from, but I will do in a little while. I've also got he's mixing his hats this weekend. I've got Hugh Hunter with me, and Matthew Jackson is joining Mark James, and we're going to be leapfrogging stages throughout the day. We are hoping, if the schedule allows, so do bear with us if we don't cover the entire entry through the next stage we do here in Cumbernauld, because we are hoping to get back to Aberystwyth for the spectator special stage to get a glimpse of Matt Wilson in that Rally 1 Puma World Rally car out there, which if we do manage to do that, I think that would be a cracking way to pay tribute to what has become a very big deal here, Rally Ceredigion. William Hill, Richard Crozier, we mentioned him earlier, is a little way out of order there, and as Phil Bramwell said, he's on either an R2 or perhaps, I think there was a rear spoiler, not an R200 Fiesta, not in the Rally 3 that we've seen him in so far this season. Phil, have you got any idea why Richard's in that car? Because William will be, after such a mega performance this year, hoping he can come away with the runner-up spot in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, but there is no guarantees. And Callum Black in 4th place, who is pushing hard to take the title this weekend, the only person who could take it from Neil Roskell, who comes here as the title leader, and indeed Black doing everything he can towards that end goal at the moment. He will usurp William Hill from that spot, obviously knocking him down to still a podium position in the Rally 3 Fiesta, but William for some reason dropping back to the R2 at this stage. So this is the third stage, 14 stages on this year's Rally Ceredigion, and 100 stage miles on some, I use the word grueling a little bit too much at the moment, but it's a good word, I like it. But certainly challenging and tricky roads, but also wonderful roads. Roads that you drive through, and we drove through 15 of the 17 miles on this stage thinking, goodness me, I'd like to be out here in a rally car. As you see Mark Lennox and Claire Lennox doing just that. They came 32nd overall on last year's event, so we'll be looking to break into the top 30, I should think. Oh, Hal Davies, Dorian Evans giving the Escort a big buzz on the downshift there in the RS 1800. Don't want to be sticking the revs that high. I think he missed a...
I think he went down instead of up, didn't he? So yeah, that could have caused him a bit of a problem. But no, luckily for him, he's okay and he's still going.
Crew tell us that after the service.
Yes.
How's your gearbox? Have we getting some information from the WhatsApp group there from the championship? Were we?
No,
Phil Bramlett. Oh right, okay. So what times in terms of times then?
For
further down, so looking at Cole Hastings. Yeah, I'm just looking. Is that Steve Wood back there in? Yeah, Steve Wood back in 41st overall. Yeah.
That time, didn't he, in stage 3?
Steve McNulty's watching from Croatia. That sounds very nice indeed. As you see, Philip Rogers, Sean Jones alongside Diane Eaton Beveridge is cheering for Anthony in car 43. Mark Sands, hello to you. Rob Johnson celebrating the fact that it's not raining, not as much as Hugh Hunter and I are celebrating that fact. Good to have you with us. As I say, we've got action for you not only all day, but because this is a double header, we've got action for you all weekend here from Aberystwyth, from the Rally Ceredigion, an event which has, since it was introduced just in 2019, not long ago at all, and to actually have its inaugural year and then have to go through the global pandemic and come out the other side as strong as it is. You know, an expected attendance of 25,000 people. There was a time, Hugh, when rallying and the RAC rally would garner a bigger crowd than you get all year at football. Absolutely. On just one event. Yeah. And we're never going to go back to that. But 25,000 crowd on an event like this with as much effort as the local authorities and the local council put into the start last night, it's what we need.
And it's well deserved. I mean, like I said earlier, the amount of effort and the work that's gone into the event is fantastic. And it's testament to the organising team. I mean, last night I think there was what 2,500 people on the prom looking at the, watching the start, going over the ceremonial start. And it's great that that they do this kind of thing and they're bringing rallying to the people. All too often we've done rallies over the years where we turn up in a town and you wouldn't know there was a rally on. So for them to be doing what they're doing and promoting it as well as they do, I think a lot of rallies should be taking a good look at what Rally Ceredigion are doing.
You couldn't get a hotel room, a restaurant table, anything last night in Aberystwyth, and that's the same for the entire weekend.
The amount of money it must be bringing into the area is phenomenal, with the amount of people that are here. Like I say, a lot of rallies could do a lot worse than to have a look at the model they've got here and take some tips away.
And some of the new rallies on the calendar, East Riding Stages earlier this year, for example, really, again, a passionate team trying to do really big things and getting the local council on board. So they're all heading in a similar sort of direction, which is fantastic. It gives us a bit of warmth, a bit of hope for the future. I think. Barry Stevenson, Wheeler, John Pickavans, you saw through as we were chatting then. Hugh, you've got the results in front of you just to give us an update on the overall leaderboard. Roger Hicks, a man who really should be out here in his Mark II, shouldn't he? Was just asking there. So Ocean Price leads overall from our championship contender, and there was just Nova of William Mains, Thomas Whittle go through and make a raucous noise as it does so. That's something that Hugh's not used to, is listening to cars whistling past. He's normally the one whistling past. So Ocean Price leads the way, our reigning BRC champion. We are mixing ranks with the British Rally Championship this weekend, but Callum Black, the first of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship protagonists, is doing what he needs to do as far as that title fight is concerned. He's second place overall. We've got Myron Evans has come on strong, actually, hasn't he? I was just looking at that thinking, he can't be third. He has, after that second stage.
He's been fastest on 2 of the 3 stages.
Yeah, Myron Evans in third, then James Ford in fourth, James Williams fifth, sixth is Gary Pearson, and then Neil Roskell in seventh. This is quite tight as far as the leaderboard is concerned, but as far as the times are concerned, Callum Black is the man doing everything he needs to do. Neil Roskell's got it all to do this weekend so far. Michael Harbour, Ian McDougall going past in their Mark II, another crew that have gone well in the Protyre Rally Championship so far this season. Aladwin Morgans has got Daniel Petrie, who out with him this weekend, who we're used to, of course, from our coverage of the BTRDA Gravel Series. The sustainability of this event is something that we've been looking at on the lead-up as well. It was the only rally in 2019 to achieve FIA environmental accreditation. They're working towards a carbon-neutral outcome, which again is very important. It's important that we get, the towns behind the rallying, but it's important that we protect the future of the sport as well. The first rally in the UK to produce a class purely for EVs. Nobody's taken that up yet, just yet. You don't fancy jumping into a Nissan Leaf or a Tesla for a rally just yet?
No.
I'm going to leave that hanging in the air.
I'll leave that one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one for now. But the sustainability of this rally, cleaner fuels in the vehicles and the generators in the service park, use of EV and hybrid organisers' cars. There's a park and ride for the 25,000 expected spectators. Digital documentation, park and ride has got a compact route around the rally, specially designed. And in 2019, they offset 33 tonnes of carbon. I think that was last year. 33 tonnes, thanks to Carbon Positive Motorsport that are working with the event. Phil Bramwell would like to add something.
And everyone can do their bit with that carbon neutral, minimising emissions. We've lift shared to the stage there, haven't we?
We have.
We've left cars in the service park and we've come in one car to save on a bit of fuel.
So I could have a nap, actually.
Okay, you're driving home.
But yeah, no, Phil is right, and the spectators coming to this event can play the part, and do play the part. If you take the park and ride, if you download a digital program rather than on your phone rather than printing it out, then we're all doing our bit, aren't we? 100 stage miles, 349 total mileage this weekend in a rally car. We've talked about the drivers not being used to a 17-mile stage like this one here in Kingswith, but to have 350 miles on a rally car that's probably doing 120 total if it's doing a BTRDA event or an actual event.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of miles, a lot of road miles as well. But it's a lot of time spent sat in the car driving around. But
so the service crew comes into the run as well, because the car's got to be prepped and looked after properly for that mileage, isn't it? You can't scrape through that amount of miles.
No. It's testament to how well cars are prepared. They need to be. Obviously, there's no chase cars anymore. So cars. There's a real onus on preparation teams to get their cars in tip-top condition, to get round each loop before they get to have a chance to have a little bit of a work on them in service.
Got some interesting variety on this year's rally. A couple of Gilbert Invaders to look forward to later in the day. I saw a photo of the start last night. You see James Nichols and Daniel through. And that's Jonathan Davies with Sean Rowlands alongside in the Peugeot 207 with a pretty raucous sounding exhaust note. Whatever happens in this title showdown this season, we will have a brand new name at the top of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And there have been some names on this championship. Hugh, you're not a name on this championship, but you have come close a couple of times. You've got your name on the BTRDA Gravel Championship. What happens next for you? You've got obviously doing the Woodpecker next weekend. Are we going to see you back on Asphalt next year, fighting for this?
We're going to see. We're going to see. And we're going to do the Woodpecker next week. I've got an entry in for 3 Shires, so hopefully we'll get there, and then we'll see.
I'm looking forward to seeing 3 Shires. I went to that event in its first year. I was very impressed. Hills Ford sponsored the event that year. We're back doing live coverage this year, so we'll see you there. But I'm looking forward to seeing that because it's an event that has grown a bit like this one.
Yeah, again, it's good to see another closed road event doing well. I've heard some good reports, talking to different people, saying it's a good rally, nice stages, pretty well run from all accounts. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But like I say, I'm just going to do a couple of events, see how I feel, and then decide which what I'm going to do, whether I carry on or not. I might take up punches.
You're very good at it, but we do like to see you out there in the car. Jonathan Stepney, one of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship drivers, Alec Davies alongside Jonathan, actually taken ill on last year's Rally Ceredigion, so fingers crossed improves on that situation this year. So if Neil Ruskell or Callum Black or one of them whichever one takes the championship this season, it will be the first time they're on. But the most prolific driver in the series has been John Price, who took the title 9 times over 3 decades, mostly in that Metro 6R4 that we knew and loved so well. Damien Cole next up with 5 titles under his belt. Jason Pritchard, who was seen through in that historic Escort earlier, has got 3 titles, 18, 19 and 21. And then you're down to Pete Doherty. Again, he's got 3 in the 90s. David Knasten, remember that? Yeah, raucous, was it a DTM engined Audi, wasn't it? In 06 and 08. And Steve Hendy took 2 in 02 and 03. So they've got some way to go if they want to be on par with any of our kind of prolific drivers in the championship. But we will have a new name on the top of the roster after this weekend. But the question is, which one will it be? Callum Black comes here 4th place in the standings, but with drop scores taken into account, he can take more points away from this weekend with maximum scores than Neil Ruskell can, who comes here as our championship leader at the moment. Callum Black leads as far as the championship crews are concerned, and behind him it is James Ford, who is certainly mixing things up and, shall we say, frustrating things if you're that 3rd place driver needing the points towards a championship campaign. But that is the way it goes. It doesn't matter whether it's Formula 1, rallying, touring cars. You're not backing off, even if you're not in a title hunt, because these guys want the silverware.
Well, of course. I mean, James is, he probably hasn't come here with any sort of championship thoughts. He's just come here to drive as fast as he can and to get as good a result as he possibly can. I'm sure James, he's come on a heck of a lot in Ireland this year, so I'm pretty sure he's come here with the thought of a podium this weekend. I'm sure that's probably in his head, so I'm sure he'll be pushing hard for that.
Yeah, and James has, whatever he's been in this season, he's been fast. I saw him in the historic Porsche. He just jumps in any car. I think it was the Border Counties I think he was on in that. Just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you can get guys, there's a lot of these guys that drive rally cars. They can jump in any sort of car really and go well. That's what makes them rally drivers, I guess.
Got some news on Steve Wood. He actually went off the road in the early part of this stage, and he had a puncture as well. But he is still running as the car's head back to service now before doing this loop of stages again this afternoon. Co-driver just catching the horn on every bump. having a right old time of it in there by the sounds of it. You don't notice you're catching the horn either when you're inside the car and you've got your helmet on. And Scary Jones with Dylan Barr get a long way, but yeah, just catching the... That is Phil Mills with Ewan Mills alongside in that Mark 1 twin car. Oh, what a car.
That looks like a really nice Mark 1, and then we've seen Viking on the side of it, so that was a giveaway. That was Phil.
We were talking about him earlier, weren't we? Our 2003 World Rally Champion co-driver alongside Petter Solberg, and a man who is actually one of the ambassadors of the Rally Ceredigion as well. And I was talking to you earlier about Phil Mills' stories from when I've been lucky enough to chat to him, and they're just brilliant. The stories of that era of the WRC.
Indeed, it was a fantastic era. That and the one, as we were saying before, there was that era, and then the era before, the mid-90s for me was fantastic. Loads of characters, real strong characters, fiery characters, and I think that's slightly lacking the top end of of rallying and Formula One, apart from Verstappen maybe. But
I'm pleased to say we've got some real characters in this series, though, and I would count you in that, Hugh.
Yeah, there's one or two characters. So, but it's all good humoured, all good fun, and
Sean Jones, Nathan Summers. I mean, where have all the Mark II Astra rally cars gone?
I have no idea.
Everywhere at one point, weren't they? I mean, even Matt Edwards, multiple British rally champion, started in a Mark II Astra. We've got a lot of oil smoke coming out of that car as it disappears out of your shot, actually. And Phil thinks it might have actually been something catching on the rear arch, but there's a lot of smoke hanging in the air there. So this afternoon, the schedule is very much the same after service for the first part of the afternoon, at least 3 legs today, both Carmarthen and Cummerswith that we're in now. We'll bring you action from Cummerswith, and Mark will be back in Carmarthen again this afternoon. That's Grant Shand with Ginny Shand alongside in that, well, Rally Extreme, but actually Rothmans-esque, early Rothmans-esque. Beautiful car, Hannu Mikkola car, I think, wasn't it? The early Rothmans Mark II. Fantastic looking thing. I love that car up close. It's one of those cars that you need to see up close. So again, you're too busy in the service area to go looking around cars.
I know, but it's nice when you go and watch a rally.
Are you a petrol head?
A little bit. I'm not a massive.
Not more the competition element of rallying for you.
I enjoy driving the cars. I mean, I like cars, obviously, in general, but I wouldn't say I was a massive petrol head, no. But I just enjoy driving them.
I find that fascinating, because my reason for being a rally and my very limited rally career behind the wheel was all because I'm a petrol head. Far more, I didn't mind really what I was doing as far as the leaderboard was concerned. So it's a very different mentality that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't say I'm not a petrol head. I love cars. I like, I'm not a car nerd, far from it.
Jeff Roberts and Jack Bowen in their RS 1800. They could still beat Will Rowlands to the overall H9 historic title, but as Hugh and I mentioned earlier, Will Rowlands is in a bit of a league of his own at the moment. But Jeff Roberts, Jack Bowen, second in that category in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship coming into this round. You've got Will Onions, who we've already seen from, and Rob Smith as well, who we've seen in 3rd and 4th respectively. They can't win the title this weekend, but as you and I were talking about with James Ford and people like Steve Wood at the top, who are not necessarily in a fight for the championship, but very much in the hunt for rally victory today. Those guys are not going to be backing off because there's a title fight happening around them, that is for sure. So after we've got the repeat of today's loop this afternoon, we've got another service break, and then around 5 o'clock. Now, I'm not sure what time we're going to make it down there. Bear with us this afternoon, but it's going to be a bit of a change to the pre-arranged schedules, because Mark James and I are both going to make our way to Aberystwyth, and we're going to try and we'll certainly bring you some of the action from the Spectator Special stage happening, that half-mile stage in the town centre, which it doesn't sound like much, does it? But don't underestimate the spectacle of rally cars in the on the seafront in the town centre. We'll try and bring you some action from that, but we will also try and get there early enough to bring you some action from the Rally 1 M Sport Puma World Rally car, which Matt Wilson, former World Rally driver, of course, son of Malcolm Wilson, the M Sport boss, he will be driving that Rally 1 Puma for a demonstration. Now, when the news broke that the Puma would be back out, and those of you who saw it or saw our coverage of it on the Malcolm Wilson will know it is a formidable car and a real treat to see in action here in the UK. When news broke that that car was coming here to Rally Ceredigion, we all hoped it would be doing course car and we'd see it all day long. And do you know what? If Matt Wilson had sat in your passenger seat today here as you drove into this stage, I reckon he probably would have gone and got the Puma.
Yeah, well, fair play to Malcolm, for taking the time to bring the car down here. For Matthew, he's doing some demonstration runs, I believe, later on. So, I mean, again, it's a bit of a coup for the rally to have that here. It's going to attract loads of people in to watch. So credit to Malcolm for sorting that out. I think it's really good of him, and it's going to obviously, like I say, attract thousands down onto the prom tonight to watch Matthew fling it around.
I cannot wait. I was lucky enough to go with Matthew in the very first Fiesta World Rally car at Rally Day at Castle Coombe. I was one of the first journalists to go in that car, and I know he loves to chuck it around. I know he loves to demo those cars. It's in the full Puma Rally 1 Red Bull livery. You might argue we saw saw Tim Johnson and Roger Burkill through, by the way, in their Honda Civic, and that is. I missed the number on the side of that Escort there. The numbers are whistling past us here. You might be able to see on your screen better than I can, but yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that car in action. You might argue that Puma at the moment seems to need all the testing it can get, because we all feel it, don't we? When M Sport suffers as a country, you feel quite patriotic about M Sport out there doing the business. So when they're struggling a bit, which they are at the moment, we all sort of get behind them, and so it's great to see the car. And if you are around Aberystwyth tonight, if you're within travelling distance, 5 o'clock is when those demos start this afternoon. Do get down and have a look if you can, because it's one of the very few times you will ever see a Rally 1 car, at the moment at least. Let's hope that's not the case in the future, but at the moment, very few times you can get a chance to see one of those cars in action. So we'll bring you all of the entry through this third stage of the day. We'll bring you at least half the entry through stage 6. Berwyn Evans is Ivan Devine, who retired on stage 7 of last year's Rally Ceredigion. We'll be hoping for a better run through than that. So yeah, Mark James will be bringing you stage 5 action as well. So the scheduled broadcast times are on the special stage Facebook page for all weekend. We've shared them on Twitter and Instagram as well. So you've got no excuse really not to enjoy a weekend of live rallying, and we're going to be mixing some stage end interviews in there as well. And if you watch the Rally Ceredigion page, you've got it's a bit like Avengers Assemble as far as rally journalists is concerned here in Wales this weekend. There's plenty of content on there with stage end and build up and atmosphere and other kind of bits of content being produced by the rally themselves in the town centre, with a whole host of names you'll recognise from the world of rallying involved. So that's great. It's good to be part of something that has turned out to be such a spectacle and such an important cornerstone of this new era of closed road rallying. The first closed road rally event in Wales in 2019, and going great guns. Milo Davies with Dylan Thomas alongside in their Mark II. We are covering the story of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this weekend. And we have got quite a few battles going on throughout the classes, but you know, the big one is that overall championship title fight. So at the moment, what is your mindset like, Hugh? If you're Callum Black and you're currently second in the rally, you could get yourself a rally victory, but that's a 2-day job, that one. But you've got 2 rounds of the championship to consider. Where's your mind at? How on earth do you kind of reconcile your strategy in your head? And is Jack Morton doing anything alongside him to try and rein that in, or not?
It depends which one they prioritise, to be perfectly honest. I mean, a rally win doesn't come along very often.
But they have got a couple this year.
They have, but it's a job. I mean, your championship is a season-long thing. It's a lot of effort, a lot of cost, and you think, are you going to try potentially throw that away to try and win one rally? I don't know, but I think Callum will push on. I think he'll push on. Go for the win.
Go for glory. Well, I'll tell you what, if he does go for the win, then he's done both jobs anyway, hasn't he? So
well, he has. He'll have.
So maybe that's the best way of looking at it.
Well, maybe, and it's not always easy to back off and go at sort of 7/10 and with your concentration and what have you. So to keep his concentration levels up, he's going to have to go at a good pace. So that I think he has to sort of be at that level and really see what happens with Oshan, see what his times are like by the end of the day, and maybe make a decision at the end of the day, see how far he is behind Oshan if he is, and make a decision then, whether he thinks he's close enough to have a go or whether he's just going to go no. I'll be happy with second and I'll maintain this position and pick up my championship.
Bit of insight there from a man who knows how to win a championship and knows what it's like to be fighting for them as well. Effian Thomas and Dewey Davies threw in their Mark 1 RS 2000, a really nicely prepped historic car, that one, here on Rally Ceredigion. 2022 was a really big year for Roskell, our current championship leader. Single venue specialist. At that point, you see Hugh Grant Jones and Sean Cunniff. He's selling a few cars, hasn't he, lately, Sean? But yes, Roskell was a single venue specialist at that point, just taken the Circuit Rally Championship. He was firing himself up the lanes of the Manx and Otterburn into first place, respectively, on those. And all of a sudden thought, hey, you know what? I'm actually maybe a little bit more competitive than I thought on these. And here he is. It's great.
He's gone about it the right way. You start at that sort of level. To go straight in and do closed roads if you've never sat in a rally car, probably not the right thing to do.
Malcolm Atherton, Jamie Atherton in there, Mark II.
No, so yeah, I think he's gone about it the right way. He's gone and done a couple of years, at single venue and circuit level. Learned a little bit about driving, and picked up some driving skills and sort of learned his craft a little bit at that level. And then obviously the obvious sort of move up is to go and do some stage events. So and he's done that, and he's come along, and he's progressed quicker than most, I'd say, and obviously finds himself in the positions he's in now, and he's done exceptionally well. Fair play to him.
And then by complete contrast, we mentioned it earlier, but if you're just tuning in, Callum Black's career has been completely different. He's 21 years younger than Neil Roskell, and Neil won't thank me for pointing that out. But in terms of rally experience, there's no more formidable a rally driver to be up against this weekend, because he's quick. He's driven all manner of cars. He started in that MG ZR. He went into the BRC and the DS3 in the R3 days, and he knows how to win rallies, and he's done that for a very long time, and jumped into this Rally 2 Fiesta and just seemed to click with it.
But he's been around rallying all his life. With his dad Steve, obviously was involved with rallying going back years and years and years. So he's been brought up with rallying. He'll have been driving cars since he could reach the pedals. And like you say, he's been competing from probably when he was 18 or whenever he could at that at that age. So yeah, he's got a lot of experience. He's driven a lot of different cars.
He won a Welsh Rally Championship 2 years before Neil Roskell climbed into a rally car for the first time.
There you go. So like I say, he's got a lot of miles behind him. He's picked up a lot of experience along the way, and he's still young. That's the maddening thing. He's so young. And
a bit of a superstar, it has to be said as well. I know his social media is he's one of the new generation of rally drivers, making it cool.
Well, they are. I mean, there's a few of us old ones still hovering around. That doesn't make it so cool, but it's good to have the young lads out. No, I know. But it's good to have the young lads out, and they're a great crack. Jacked in with him. On the Manx, starter stages in the queue, having a chat. And, great lads, really good company, and I look forward to competing against them again.
David Williams, Andrew Davies through in their Chrysler Sunbeam. Don't say maybe. We need you out on this Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship again to do battle. That's Hugh Hunter joining me. If you're just tuning in, good to have you with us here on Rally Ceredigion. This is covering the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, and we have a title showdown on our hands. As you see, the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy driver Jack Brennan with John McGrath through in the Renault Clio. Mason and I were heading for something to eat in Aberystwyth last night, and we saw those two driving through the town centre, and that just looked awesome. We had a 5-odd hour drive, and we were a little bit wired, and then the first rally car we saw through was that one. And we saw John Dawson's Darien as well, thundering through, I think is more the expression, at the speed he was going through the town centre. There's something about, and I don't know if you get this inside the car, because I've never had the pleasure of driving. I suppose I did the Cambrian with Tim Rogers, but I've done single venue stuff when I've rallied. There must be something inside that car when you're driving through a town centre and you can see normal cars around you in traffic. There's certainly something from outside the car when you see a rally car in normal traffic conditions.
They stand out, don't they? They stand out, and the noise they make, and they certainly draw attention. That's for sure.
Remember when I was a kid, one of the biggest draws of rallying for me was the North Humberside stages, which I know you've done a few times back in the day, and I would go straight from school. My dad would pick me up. We'd go to scrutineering at Ionians Rugby Club, as it was then, in Brough, just the next village to where we lived, and we'd then follow the cars. There was no action on the Friday night, but we'd follow them from scrutineering to noise test at a farm nearby, and then we'd go to where the cars were parked up overnight and where they were servicing at the hotel, and then we'd go out to the stages the next day. But actually, I enjoyed back to our conversation about being a car nerd, I enjoyed wandering around the service area much more, I think, than stood out on the stage. I could watch the stage on TV afterwards, but actually seeing the cars up close, and that's the thing that sometimes inside the car you maybe miss, but the excitement of people seeing rally cars.
Yeah, quite possibly. I guess obviously having competed for so long, maybe I don't get that same perspective of somebody that hasn't competed and the excitement they might feel. But I guess, I mean, even as a rally fan, I mean, I still like going to watch. I still love walking around the service park, looking at the cars, talking to different guys, different drivers, and I still get a bit of a thrill out of doing that. But nothing compares to competing.
No, that is for sure. And anyone who hasn't had the privilege of being able to do that, hopefully you're enjoying a bit of insight from Hugh Hunter, who very much has. Mal Boyd, Harry Stubbs there through. They're fighting for second in B11. They need a good run this weekend. They need 2 solid scores from this weekend in order to get that second place. There are class battles. Hello to the rest of you watching at home. We didn't realise we were actually on camera there. That's not part of this gig anymore, is it? I don't have a shave anymore for these live rounds.
You haven't got my good side there either. It should have been the other way.
Should we?
Yeah.
I'll remember that for next time. You were saying, though, talking about you enjoying rallying, that when you're not out competing and you're not out helping doing things like this and getting involved this way, you'll sit at home and have multiple streams on from Irish Rally McKillian or with us guys over here.
Right. It's great. When the rallies are on, obviously Killian over in Ireland does a great job as well. And you can sit at home on a Saturday. If it's a rainy, horrible Saturday, you can't go and do anything. You can sit and watch a rally on your iPad all day and watch the results, see the live streaming. It's a great day to.
I love the thought of a former BTRDA champion, top UK rally driver, you sat at home watching rallying when he's not actually inside the car. So going back to the question I asked you earlier when I said, are you a petrol head? 100% you are. It sounds like rallying is literally your life.
Hey, look, I love rallying. I mean, it's got other things going on in my life as well, obviously, with family and what have you. But it's been a massive part of my life over the years. I've loved every minute of it. I've made a lot of friends. I've had a lot of great times, a lot of sad times. But on the whole, I wouldn't have swapped any of my experiences for anything. It's been fantastic.
What was really nice earlier as well, as we were getting ready and we were just unpacking the cars ready to come out to this location on the stage, you had a spectator walk past and recognise you from when Woodpecker in
20 years ago. I had a bit of a. Funny enough, we keep talking about my offs. I didn't realise I'd had that many, but obviously I have. And he was there. He was there when I went off on the Woodpecker many years ago.
We've just been joined by somebody who I'm going to quickly get on the live feed. John Desborough, good to see you.
Who is this person? Hello.
Who is this person? Well, I heard that you were here. The news got around pretty quickly. John Desborough had arrived in Aberystwyth.
Listen, the way the year was going, I just needed to get out more. You know what I mean? I just wasn't seeing enough people and smelling enough petrol. So here I am.
What a fantastic event. You're doing something for Motorsport UK here that we'll be able to see very shortly, I understand. Can you talk about it?
It's all very top secret, but it's brilliant. It's organised by fantastic people. It's shot by experts. And occasionally I get in and ruin it. But up here, this is just such a brilliant rally scene. If you just don't say anything for a while, you just get the wind going through your glasses. You hear the babbling of the brook down in the valley. And then every now and again, every minute, you get full on. Just here where you guys are, it's full chat past here. And the contrast could not be better. Let's just listen. Let's listen and worship. So it wasn't exactly going to give us lots of anyway, look, I'm
John Desborough, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us very briefly. I'll see you later. Not just one voice of the WRC with Mark James this weekend, but there you have John Desborough as well. And it was actually Mike Pugsley, Mark Clatworthy going past in their Escort Mark 1. When they watch the stream back later on, they'll be delighted that they were driving past as John Desborough was talking to us on the stream, I am sure. So we had to name check them at least there. But there's a lot of stuff going on here this weekend in Rally Ceredigion. There really is. Every single person. I went to McDonald's earlier for breakfast. I think someone pointed out, very rarely do you go to McDonald's and know every single person in there apart from the staff, which was remarkable. That's another one of our Ireland Rally Academy. Ireland are really putting the money and the investment into their rally drivers at the moment. 3 Rally Academy drivers from Ireland here this weekend.
I mean, it's a hotbed of rally talent, to be honest with you. You go over there, the pace. Well, you can see the way Marion's going today on this morning, other than obviously he's had a problem on stage 2, but quickest on the other 2 stages. the pace in Ireland is on another level, yeah, it's certainly for the likes of Marion and the boys there, and what's his name, Ford, James Ford. That, you know, their pace has come on, you know, massively in leaps and bounds, because they've been rallying over there, competing at that level, and they've moved along with it, and you know, it's paid dividends for those boys.
Yeah, and we've already talked about the Welsh Road Rally scene, and this is very much that part of the world. So you've got those kind of two worlds colliding on these events, which I really love. I love the fact that people will have, the specialists on the road rallies will have done these rallies in the dark, these roads in the dark, and as you said earlier, here they are in the light, and probably a very different
It'd be a completely
outlook.
different feel for them, wouldn't it, in the day, you know, to doing it at night with little spot lamps, and you know, the visibility for them. Doing road rallies around here, you know, in the middle of winter up here would be pretty murky, I would have thought, and the visibility wouldn't be great. But it's a good grounding for those lads, for those lads as drivers, and you know, pay dividends for them now coming onto a stage event in the day. You know, you'll find that, you know, quite a few of these lads in lap 2s, that the road rallies will be going well this weekend.
These are the sounds of road rallying as well. Martin Rossiter, Ian Davis, alongside their first visit, I think, to Rally Ceredigion. It's only been running since 2019. Obviously had a break in 2020, as most things did. Struggling for the live results here, but for some reason we have full Wi-Fi out here. Just grab that under your shoe.
Sorry.
We're just struggling for Wi-Fi out here on my phone, but we seem to be okay with the cameras and everything else. But at the moment, thank you, Hugh. Give you a reminder, if you are just tuning in and you're casually observing today on the first of the two Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship rounds to see what's happening with that championship at the moment. Overall, as far as the championship is concerned, Callum Black is putting together a pretty strong campaign for the end of this season. He's currently second place overall in the rally to Ocean Price, reigning British Rally champion, of course. But that puts him first place in the Asphalt Cruise. Second place in those is James Ford, who's in fourth place, split by Myron Evans from Callum Black. So it's Price, Black, Evans, Ford. And then you've got James Williams and Gary Pearson in the mix. And then we go to Neil Roskell in seventh place. And Roskell came here leading that championship, but crucially he has James Ford in between him and Callum Black. At the moment, there's a minute or so in between the two. And it's going to be one heck of a showdown this weekend, but the permutations are like this at the moment. If Callum takes a maximum here, maximum points score on day one, then all he needs to do on day two is finish 5th or higher, and that's in the championship. And that's 20th place with the cruise registered this weekend, and probably do that. As you see Jeff Glover, Keith Barker alongside. It's a car I always talk about.
Second time he's won best presented car of the rally.
This is, yeah, as Phil's just pointed out, second time that rear-wheel drive Mark III Astra has won best presented car. If you get a chance later, if you have a look, it's astounding. You could eat your dinner off the engine bay. It's unbelievable. But also, incredible. I love that Jeff loves talking about his car. He had a DNF here with a rear axle failure on last year's event, but he's just someone who loves his rallying and absolutely dotes on the car, but then absolutely gives it death when he comes out here on the stage, and he can't fault that.
Well, you get a car prepared as nice as that, it sometimes feels a shame to go and thrash it around the lanes and give it some grief. But he obviously takes great pride in the car, and yeah, fair play to him for winning best prepared.
Ricky Reynolds with Effin Jenkins alongside, retired on stage 6 here last year. Stage 6 last year. I remember watching, I wasn't actually here, I remember watching some of the live coverage with Mark. It was a bad stage for attrition last year. You did this in 2019? 19, and your
I
pace
did it- I
on
did
the
it-
first
I-
four
I
stages,
did
you
in the
tied on
first, yeah.
5, didn't you? Your pace on the first, you were about 4th or 5th consistently.
In fairness, I was a little bit off it in that on the first rally here. So yeah, it wasn't one of my better days. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, it's you can have good rallies and bad rallies. I can't remember where we were like. To be
You were
honest.
4th. You were fighting with Ocean Price and Kevin Davies when you retired, 4th or 5th.
Really, I don't
On
remember
your
that.
stage times, you were consistently 4th and 5th in fastest on the stages.
Right, I'll take your word for that, Paul. Thank you.
Did my homework on that one because you didn't do it last year.
No, I didn't last year. No, unfortunately, but. Hopefully, I had it in my mind to obviously to do this year because we were looking at doing Protyre, but obviously with what happened on Isle of Man, that sort of shelved the Protyre plans. So maybe next year we'll see if I'm still rallying.
I keep saying this at the end of these questions. If he's still rallying, yeah. You know what? As much as
Watching before, so
I'm only saying it because the wife will be listening.
yeah, I think she was watching
it'll
before.
make her
I don't
feel
know if she's
better.
now, yeah.
as much as I'm sure it wasn't very nice. In fact, I know it wasn't very nice having to come over to the Isle of Man to see you in hospital. You know,
She had to come and get me
that
to carry
memory
my
will
bag.
fade.
Well, she had to come and carry my bag because I couldn't carry my bag. So yeah, it was a bit of an ordeal for her, and she's obviously she'd had a bit of a fright, but yeah, we'll see.
Some would say that was an all-expensive paid trip to the Isle of Man for her. Surely.
Phil, you were likening parts of this stage that we're in today, Cumberswith, this third stage here on Ceredigion, to parts of Mull, which I know you love Mull. You came here for a holiday recently to check this stage out. Just wax lyrical for me on that.
Well, yeah, 2 jobs at once. Thanks, Paul. That's really handy. As I'm trying to film the cars coming towards me. Yeah, we drove this stage with my family, which was an experience for them. They were pretty bored by the time I'd got through it, but I loved every minute of it. It's a fantastic part of the world. You're not having this back now, it's mine. But yeah, the roads around here are absolutely incredible, and yeah, where we've parked, it's very similar to the hairpins just outside Dervig. If anyone's familiar with that part of the world, it's an unbelievable sight watching the cars down this valley, and I'm sure the drivers and co-drivers will be smiling from ear to ear when they get to the end of this stage. You can have the microphone back now, Paul.
Hello to Brian Hall who's watching with us. Thank you to Phil.
I want double pay for that.
I don't know about that. Pay? Careful, Phil. Now look what you've done. Ian Jarvis and Paul Train passes in there.
Nobody's mentioned pay to me.
Subaru, have they not?
Nobody's mentioned pay to me. What's going on?
The problem is you're already here now, you see. You've got to talk these things through beforehand. You
Damn, I should have read that contract properly, shouldn't I?
should have done. Hello to Brian Hall who's watching with us. And the rest of you watching at home, don't forget, if you click the link, and it's right at the bottom of the screen, there's like an option to be notified whenever we go live. You won't miss a minute or a stage this weekend. That is one of my favourite rally cars of all time. I rallied a Saxo for a while, and I put as many of the Super 1600 bits on that I could find. Anything I could find, I bolted it on. Owen Edwards, there weren't many bits on it, I have to say. Daniel Thomas in their Super 1600 Saxo. That is one of the eras for me of rallying. Super 1600s, F2 kit cars. I'd love to see some more kit cars out. You've done a rally in a Micra. Not kit car Micra though.
No. I did a couple of rallies in a little Micra many years ago. Only on single venues. One was quite memorable on New Brighton Prom with Anna Marchbank, daughter of Pat and Andy. Yep. That was a few years ago, but we laughed all day. We had a fantastic time, and yeah, it was a little 50 horsepower Micra. I think at one point Anna had a pillow in the car with her, half asleep, trying to have a little sleep as we were going around because it was that slow. But no, we had a really good day, and yeah, we had a lot of fun that day. Actually, it was good.
You've done a rally in was it that rally that you used to just take sort of red herrings out on? You had a Nissan Sunny GTI as well.
Yes, I had went out in a Nissan Sunny GTI, which was Jane Edgerton's brother's car, and again that's years ago. But I've done it in that car. I did it in one of Matt Edwards' Evo 9s once. I did it in my Focus once. Can't remember. Can't remember anything else from.
Richard Morgan, Daniel Johnson, and just as we're talking about micro kit cars, one arrives. We should do that more often. Getting Price and Stephen Brown, they retired with a mechanical issue on stage 5 last year's event, stage 3, so they're not quite at the demon quashing part of their comeback year on Rally Ceredigion yet, but that Nissan micro kit car's looking glorious. And Matt Jackson, who is joining us on the other live stream with Mark James this weekend, is building a micro kit car. So I'm looking forward to, if you get Matt talking about micros, talking of car nerds, he even puts me to shame.
No way. Yeah, I was watching the live stream last night, as I do, and he was on about building his new cars, bright yellow or something, I think. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see it when it breaks cover.
Yeah, and Matt is someone who, I remember he had a 1 litre Super 1000 spec micro, and I was in this 1600 Saxo, 150 odd horsepower. And I was stood still. That's John Bray with Fiona Crump. He had Kath Curzon in with him. Last year came 54th overall in that Lotus Elise. That would be a fair thing to pedal around this stage. But I remember I was in full acceleration at Blyton Park, and he went flying past me. I was stood still in this 1 litre micro. I could not believe it. So he knows how to build these micros, does Matt Jackson. So I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out. So the plan is we're going to bring you the whole of the entry through this third stage of the day. Here's one of the... Now this is a car you will not see out rallying very often. I've never seen one out rallying, but fitting it should be here in Wales because that's where they were built. It's a Gilbert Invader. It's driven by Chris Jones, Richard Evans, and the next one looks a bit like an Invader. It's actually a Gilbert Genie. Mark Jones and Tom Rendell. I've been doing some work with the Great British Car Journey, which if you haven't been to, you must. It's in Derbyshire, and they've got a super low mileage Gilbert Invader, and they're just beautiful cars up close, albeit very bulbous and very, you can tell it was a low volume manufactured car, but built here in Wales, rallying here in Wales on a rally which has quite possibly transformed Welsh rallying at a time when we needed some inspiration on these lanes. That's quite fitting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice to see. I think there's two. Is it two?
There's a Genie coming next as well. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's just nice to see a massive variety of cars, all sorts of different cars. It's great. It's really good to see.
Yeah, I'm a massive classic car nut. As anyone watching, or if you've watched this stuff before, you will know I drive a Clan Crusader. And so, a Gilbert Invader, 2 Gilbert Invaders. You can barely see it at a car show.
Car nut, I'd never heard of one of them. So
I wasn't going to say that
until you told me about it earlier on. So, not being a petrol head or a car nerd, I'd never heard of them. So
you've been too busy driving them to the fast. Maybe. The rest of us have had time to concentrate on these things. But no. To see the variety, anyone who watches this knows that I like a bit of variety. And there's a really interesting car coming up as well from a crew who will be looking to move up their class leaderboard as far as the championship is concerned. And it's an ex-Junior Ginetta, the race series that follows the touring car. So it's an ex-G40 Junior Ginetta, which has been converted to, firstly, to be road legal, and secondly, to rally spec. And it's Nick Hurd and Ollie Mattison, a local crew to me. Really cool couple of guys. Nick rallied everything from a Super 1600 Proton to Johnny Milner's R3 Fiat 500 in the Team Dynamics colours. So he knows his rally cars. And he's got his Ginetta, and they first came out on these riding stages this year. And the thing's bouncing around, the nose cones just bouncing off the floor. You see the Gilbert Genie here coming through. As we say, very rare to see one of these. 2. It's Mark Jones, Tom Rendell. There is the Ginetta G40 of Nick Hurd and Ollie Matheson. So compared to what I just described to you, where the nose cones bouncing off the road, they've got it sorted. So they've spent this year getting the thing set up and getting it ready to go. And it's the first year that Ollie's done full-time co-driving. He's from a rally family. His dad's rallied. His mum's always there at the rallies, and he does a lot of auto testing and things like that. And I think they've got a road rally. Yeah, they have got a road rally car, so they do a lot of road rallying in East Yorkshire. But he's out there co-driving alongside Nick, real young lad. Yeah. And again, another lad that you should check out on social media, because we've got these young kind of stars coming through the sport. And I'd definitely say Oliver Matheson is one of those. But no, that G40 is something different to see. And when everyone said he was bringing one of those out, I thought he was mad.
A few eyebrows raised, I guess.
I mean, Nick Hurd is mad, but the G40 just confirms it for us, and it's great to see that pair out. Are you handing things over we should be reading out, Phil? Have you found some useful information from the service area, or?
No, it's...
If anybody watching at home is aware of something that we've not mentioned, that's Gary Farrant buzzing with Hughes commentary, 10 years next month. He very kindly lets us use his Impreza WRC as one of our rally wedding cars. Fair play.
It was a really good day. Really good day. Great guy Gary, lovely wife, and a fantastic day. Yeah, we had a really good day there in Bottleworth Castle. So,
They're really good wedding cars. I had a Subaru Impreza WRC as mine.
You know, I've known Claire for years, with the Cambrian Rally. She's a fantastic girl, and Gary's a great guy. And there was myself, Rob Jones in the Mini, Keith Parry in his Subaru. So we had the 3 cars there at the wedding up at Bottleworth Castle, and we had a fantastic day.
Fantastic. Having a World Rally car as your wedding car is definitely the way to go.
Have you driven any other people to weddings in rally cars, Hugh?
Just my wife.
Not me.
I forgot.
Oh, no.
I did. Sorry, Phil.
No.
Maybe there's a bit of an opening here.
There's a sideline project.
For a bit of a sideline business.
Just take the pressure off yourself. You still get to drive rally cars, but you're not. There's no expectation on your
But
shoulders.
I'll get paid for it then, Paul. You see, that sounds a lot better to me.
I'm sure the cost of a wedding car will cover the cost of a World Rally car per mile.
Absolutely.
Hugh Hunter Wedding Car Services. Can you imagine? That's a great looking thing, isn't it? In the proper 90s Vauxhall colours, very Di Llewellyn. That's Keith Daniels, Andrew Millington alongside. There was a great photo of just, for some reason it's just popped up on the WhatsApp group, on Championship WhatsApp group, of Callum Black and Jack Morton sat in Neil Roskell's motorhome with a Roskell Motorsport mug in each hand.
That was laced.
Well, when we were on the Isle of Man, I noticed it after a while, but Neil Roskell, the bugger, stuck an ND Civil sticker on the back window of my car without telling me.
I mean, not from just a competitive point of view, but from a business point of view, that's conflict of interest.
I know, it certainly is, yeah. Free advertising for Mr. Roskell there, but there you go, it's quite funny.
Lewis and Hunter contracting, having ND Civils on the back window of the car. Well,
maybe one day he might ask me to price a bit of surfacing work for him, so I might get a bit of a job.
Maybe that's what it was. It was an invitation to tender.
Maybe. I await a bill of quants.
Brilliant. Hello to Kerry Mike Hogan, Luke Leonard, who should be working hard, getting ready for the next live stage here on Special Stage. Colin Blunt, Chris Rook, Craig Jones, Neil Rees all enjoying the coverage today. Anthony Baker's watching from Australia. And Anthony Gullick is watching from Rally Mont Blanc in Morzine. Wow. Very exotic. There's nowhere in the world I'd rather be than Ceredigion right now. Paul Jenkins, Lucy Gutteridge coming past in an Arch Mark II. Something about an Arch Mark II, a road rally car.
Proper road rally car. Yeah, there'll be a few of them out this weekend.
There is nowhere else I'd rather be as the sun comes out than stood at the side of a glorious rally stage. Talking about rally cars, really. Phil Bramall is going to... Oh, I've had my torch on my phone blinding Phil the whole time I've been talking to him. That's why he's been looking at me funny. You've got one of those weird sounds.
I'll let you do that.
I'll get very emotional here. Stay side. On special stage, Gary Ollerenshaw had a bit of an issue last year with Rhys Williams alongside in that Peugeot 206. Those guys ended up super rallying, which I suppose on a two-day event you want to be able to do that, don't you, just to get some mileage in. But would you do that at the cost of running the cars?
I'm really conflicted on the Super Rally thing and being able to go again, because you're out of the rally. You've gone, so you're literally going round for mileage and for a bit of fun. If something happens, it's great if you get round and it all goes well, but if something happens and you have an accident or you damage the car, you'd be thinking, why did I do it? But I guess, if you're new in a car or you've just had something new on it and you want to get mileage and do a bit of testing, that's fine. But if you're all settled with the car and you don't really need any more testing on it, and then that happens and you've got to run with nothing to fight for, I'm not sure. It doesn't sit comfortably with me. I find that a little bit difficult to do, to be honest.
Fair enough. We are 3 stages down then here at Rally Ceredigion. Phil Bramwell.
Have you got any results up? Daniel Harbour's asking if you can let him know when mine.
Just bringing the results up now, and I was looking down to see where our championship class sitters were on the results. I can't actually see Michael Harbour on our results at the moment, but that is probably more my eyes.
He won't have got through to the end of the stage too long ago anyway, so it might not have been updated yet.
All 3 stages
okay.
here, so Michael Harbour will be on there somewhere, but the question is where? See if it's, you would give us the complicated jobs, wouldn't you? Pick another name.
We've got everyone. There we go.
There we go. 42nd overall. At the moment, the results service this weekend doesn't actually give us the class order at a glance on the leaderboard, which is a little frustrating. So it's not that easy to talk you through the results, but we will get our head around those in the break before we go live again for stage 6. But at the moment, we're 3 stages down here at Rally Ceredigion, the penultimate round of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. One more round to go on the second day of the rally tomorrow, splitting the rally into 2 rounds to finish the season off in style with a championship showdown. And we'll give you a view of that in just a moment, because we've got a couple of cars on the stage about to come into your view in this glorious part, 15 miles into this 17-mile monster stage. So you saw Bob Morris and Dill John in the Escort chasing down Chris Evans and Neil Spires in the Suzuki Swift. So Ocean Price leads the way on the overall rally results at the moment. We're mixing ranks here this weekend with the British Rally Championship. Price, the reigning champion, back with Stefan Privot for his first round in the UK this season, and going well. Callum Black in second place, the first of our 2 championship protagonists here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And if he takes maximum points, which he will with that second place, of course, we've still got another 5 stages to go today, so let's not go giving any commentators or presenters curses out today. But you've got Myron Evans in 3rd place, James Ford in 4th, James Williams in 5th, Gary Pearson in 6th, and then the second of our championship protagonists, Neil Ruskell, coming here leading the championship and really giving himself a bit of an uphill task for the rest of the weekend after this morning's performance in 7th place. Fair play. We were talking about it earlier, Hugh. The pace is really hot here today. To be in 7th place, great, but when you've got a championship and your marker man is up there leading the way, God, that makes things harder, doesn't it? Because you're having to try and deal with that pressure as well as what you're already putting on yourself going into the event.
Yeah, well, he's got a tough ask on now, as Neil. I mean, Callum's gone exceptionally well this morning, which I thought he would do. I knew he was going to push on. So yeah, Neil's got it all to do.
Callum takes those maximum points. Neil needs to take maximum points tomorrow and hope that Callum is lower than 5th.
Which isn't going to happen. If Callum keeps going, that's
a retirement or not, isn't it?
Exactly. It's not going to happen. He's not going to finish lower than 5th unless something happens. So yeah, Neil needs to get his foot down and try and get something back on Callum, just to maybe put a little bit of pressure on him if he can. But it's going to be mighty tough. Callum's going really well.
It is. There is still a long way to go. We always say that, but never more was that the truth than today. Dylan Davies through in there. Peugeot 206, a hell of a long way to go actually today. A total of 54, as I get my notes all flapping around in my face. A total of 54 stage miles today. That's longer than, just on day 1, longer than pretty much any other rally I can think of in the UK in terms of stage mileage, apart from the RAC. So there we go. Yeah. There's a long way to go. We've got another repeat of this morning's loop, plus 2 spectator specials in Aberystwyth. You're not going to make much up in half a mile, but I'll tell you what, there are curbs and all sorts of other nasties in there to watch out for.
It's the same old saying, isn't it? You're not going to win the rally there, but you can certainly lose it. So the guys will be ultra careful, I guess, around there, because even if they take the time, they're not going to lose any time, overall. So they'll be careful for sure. They're not going to want to do anything silly in there.
So this afternoon, 2 o'clock. What time are we on now? I've lost all track of time, which is it's a nice luxury of covering rally in that you just don't care about anything else going on in the world. But 2 o'clock, we get back underway after service this afternoon, and Mark James, the former voice of the WRC and now the voice of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, will be live with you for action from Carmarthen. As you see Jeremy Packer and Glyn Thomas through, they were 5th in class last year, 53rd on the overall leaderboard on the 2022 Rally Ceredigion. So yeah, 2 o'clock is the first stage in the afternoon, that's Borth, and you'll be able to get content and live reaction, I should imagine, on the Rally Ceredigion page from the presenters that the rally's lined up for that part of the coverage this weekend, and then you will have Mark James live with you in Carmarthen. Rob Richards there with Teresa Butler alongside. It's Teresa Butler's first event since the crash with Alan Smith on Clacton earlier this year. So Teresa's jumped in that car. Rob had Wendy Gibson.
Wendy before.
Yeah, so 15 years those two been together. So he said to me he was hoping that he could forge another long-term partnership.
For another 15 years, fair play to him. No, I've known Rob a while. He's a real nice guy as well. So nice to see that he's still bobbing along.
He loves his rallying. He's really fired up for this.
And Wendy as well. They're both they're both really keen on their rallying. So yeah, like I say, it's nice to see him bobbing along nicely here.
Yeah, and if you're going to put a new co-driver in the seat, then get someone with the experience of Teresa Butler.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, some good action so far on the rally, and we've given you an update on the leaderboards as things stand. But as far as that title is concerned at the moment, Callum Black is very much controlling things out in front. But the question will be, can he turn off that ambition, that drive, that obsession he has with having to fight for overall wins when he's got Ocean Price so close within his sights, and the glory of an overall win on Rally Ceredigion over 2 days? Can he turn that off and let that almost be a byproduct of doing what he needs to do for the championship? Or does it even matter? Does he just need to go for everything and take it all in one? That's the question, and that is what we'll be watching as the day unfolds, because normally by this point in the event we've got our answers, but those answers are not going to come until later this afternoon. It's rare to see a Mark II Escort with square headlamps, isn't it? That's John Rossiter with Leston Pin. I had an orange Mark II Escort gear and a leather cloth roof with that grill. I've still got the grill hanging in my garage. I can't now remember why the grill came off the car. I'm sure I must have sold it with a grill on it, but it's in my garage nevertheless. And I very rarely see rally cars with square lamps, because you couldn't get the brighter bulbs for them back in the day. The lamp units are not very effective, so that's why they all changed to the circular lamps. Sorry, I try not to nerd out too much on these. Right? Even Phil Bramwell has turned around and started yawning at me at that point.
See that time? Nap time.
Phil, I think you spent 20 minutes this morning telling me about the readjustment of the exhaust underneath your Saab 96 rally car. So I think in terms of rally nerdery, I think we've... Even John Desborough's getting involved now. So
Thank you, John, for joining me on that one. Let's get him.
Tell us about the exhaust on your Saab 96, Phil.
It's low.
It's low.
About as much as I can tell you.
He gave me 20 minutes of it earlier. It was delightful.
It's the journey, isn't it?
So 2:45 is when you can next catch
I think it's Portugal.
Mark James. We've got 4 more cars in the stage, and we will, because we just have a thing about doing it. We'll make sure we get every car through the stage, because we might not be able to do that for the second stage. There we go, live with you. Today at stage 6, because we're going to hot-foot it across to Aberystwyth and try and get you some of the action from that spectator special stage later this afternoon as well. And if we possibly can, I'm looking at Phil for this, because he's the man who's going to be driving us there and navigating us there. We need to get that Puma Rally 1 in on the live coverage today, because I think you guys watching at home need to see what will be a very rare sighting of a Puma Rally 1 on UK soil, or asphalt as it is today. So we've got 4 more cars left. These are the Land Rovers. And these guys just look like they're having a load of fun. Yeah, you drove a Land Rover Discovery in here to the stage today. You know, not much dissimilar to the experience these guys will be having.
We all came in one car, remember? We're eco-friendly, remember?
Yeah. No,
We don't know who Hugh is.
we kept the revs down. George Martin with Jack Bean alongside in the Defender Wolf. I don't know if they've called it the Defender Wolf themselves, or... Boulder were bringing out a new Defender-based road car, actually. First one they brought out since the Nemesis XTR, which was basically the Boulder Nemesis Dakar car, which they meant to a road version. My boss has one, I know about these cars. But the next one's going to be Defender-based, and it's going to be a raucous beast. Phil Bramwell's yawning again. Look, do you know what? We're talking about Land Rovers because there's Land Rovers on the stage, Phil.
I like the ones on the stage.
If you are out on Rally Ceredigion this weekend, by the way, we would love to see your photos. So either put them under the stream in a comment or put them on the special stage page or tweet us them, tag us on Instagram. We'd love to see where you've been watching this weekend, because there are anticipated to be in excess of 25,000 people watching this rally. And that is something that I think we need the whole world to see. We need everybody on social media to have had Rally Ceredigion flash up on their screens wherever they've been, whatever they've been doing this weekend. So if you have been out here watching, get some photos up on your social media and tell the world about it, because that is how we build the profile of the sport in this country, and the organisers of this event are working extremely hard to do just that. Anticipated to be over £2 million worth of economic impact on the local area as well. Danny Hedges and Ben Ball, they were first Land Rover on last year's Rally Ceredigion, yeah. These things do look fun though. I mean, they look leery when they're sort of wallowing around the stages. Some of the corners are like they're scraping the door handles on the road.
Yeah, they'd be a handful. I think you'd have a lot of fun, but I think you could scare yourself quite easily.
I drove a Defender for the very first time in my life about a month ago, and they're actually a load of fun. I always thought it would be a really dull car, and it was a Series 2 Land Rover, so it wasn't technically a Defender. But I wasn't looking forward to it. Jumped in this thing, and it was great fun.
Great stuff. I know. Yeah, I'm sure you could have fun, but like I say, I think you could scare yourself quite quickly in one of them, to be honest.
Says the man who drives a Fiesta Rally 2 and at the front of the field as well. That is Hugh Hunter. I know quite a few people are just joining us and thinking, oh no, I've missed it. Don't worry, you can watch the stream back in the gap in between ours and the next live stream if you want to watch the action back from either Stage 2 or Stage 3 of Rally Ceredigion. That is Hugh Hunter, 2008 BTRDA Rally Champion, formidable Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitor, and a man who, having recovered from a fairly serious accident on the Manx, I'm pleased to say will be back in that Rally 2 Fiesta for the Woodpecker Rally next weekend. So we'll be bringing you live coverage of that event and Hugh's progress along with it. But Hugh, this has been a lot of fun, and genuinely the insight of having somebody like you who does compete at the sharp end of the sport in cars that people like me can only imagine what it's like to drive is really useful, because people sat at home watching, they don't know what it's like inside those cars. We all see it from outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I said it earlier, we're just privileged to have been, I'm fortunate enough to have driven the cars I've driven. Don't take it for granted. Loved every minute of it, and as you say, you got all these spectators, so many spectators here that would love the opportunity to sit in a car, let alone drive one of them. So yeah, we're very lucky, and like I said, loved every minute of it.
This is one of those sports that is so accessible, and if you haven't ever managed, and you're watching casually, this has popped up in your timeline, I thought we'd have a quick watch, and you haven't ever had chance to get up close and see a rally, let alone see and sit in a rally car. Do you know what? Rally drivers in the UK are more than happy, and in fact they get quite excited when people want to be part of it. And I know sometimes when you're in the zone, someone like me sticking a microphone in your face isn't the best thing, but I bet you'll have nothing more than pulling into the service area and seeing a crowd of people around the cars watching what's going on. Yeah,
it's fantastic, and you always try and have a chat and be available, and if somebody wants to have a sit in the car, it's not a problem. So it's good that you can get spectators into service areas. They can see what's going on, the nitty-gritty of servicing a car, maybe have a chat with the drivers and the co-drivers. So it just adds to the interest for the spectators, and it's well worth doing and making them feel welcome.
And just to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that Hugh Hunter is one of the biggest rally fans any of us will ever listen to on a Saturday morning, just tell me about that pinch yourself moment when you were sat behind Mikko Hovinen on the start line of the Cambrian.
It was 2009, Andy Marchbank and myself. I remember actually on the road section from Llandudno to Clocaenog, we were following him, and it was on the road back to Ruthin where I live, and we were coming out of a village called Llanrhydr, and Mikko Hovinen was in front of us. We were driving behind him.
This is in the works
for... he was in his works 08 car, whatever, before Rally GB. Andy and I were in Y4, the old 01 car. And Andy says to me, we're coming up behind him, he goes, go on, pass him now, go on, overtake him. It's the only time you'll ever get past him. So, but I didn't. And then we got up to Clocaenog, and I had a proper pinch myself moment. We were at the start of Clock East, Mika Hirvonen was on the start line.
Matt Osberg behind you.
And Matt Osberg was behind me. It was nuts. And I was sat on the start line. I said to Andy, if you'd have said to me, 15 years ago, whenever I started rallying, that I'd be sat on the start line here with Mikko Hirvonen in front of me, I'd have said you were mad. It was a proper pinch me moment, and yeah, it was a good day. Didn't end so great, but it was a good day.
Yeah, and a good day for the sport. I actually competed on that rally, my one and only BTRDA rally that I'd done on the Cambrian. So we're going to wrap things up there. We've brought you just about the whole entry through. There's still a couple of Land Rovers out there on stage somewhere, but we're going to hotfoot it to the next location for the second stage that will bring you live. So 2 o'clock the action gets back underway with Borth, but if you do want to, well, as I say, if you do want to, of course you want to, so do check out the first of the live stages this afternoon when Cumbervin will be live again with Mark James, and we'll be back with you here in Cumberswith at around 3:30 this afternoon before we head to Aberystwyth for the spectator specials. For now though, that's it from stage 3 here on Rally Ceredigion in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt